On a cool October morning in 2016, a trail maintenance crew in Rocky Mountain National Park uncovered a haunting discovery. Four weathered backpacks hanging from a cliffside pine tree, holding the first clues to the fate of 8 people who vanished 6 years prior. The silence in the Brennan household was oppressive. It was 8:47 p.m. on Sunday, September 12, 2010. Nearly 3 hours passed when Marcus and Elena Brennan were due home, brimming with tales of campfires and mountain trails. Their neighbors, the Caldwell family, who had joined them on a camping trip, were also absent, leaving both driveways empty, porch lights casting lonely glows on barren concrete. Inside the Brennan kitchen, Elena's sister Carmen paced restlessly, her eyes darting between the window and the phone. Her stomach knotted with each passing minute. She was watching the Brennans' golden retriever Bailey, who whimpered by the door, sensing the absence of familiar voices. The Brennans and Caldwells were more than neighbors, they were kin by choice. Marcus, a precise engineer, and Elena, a caring pediatric nurse, had formed a deep bond with David, a high school history teacher, and Sarah, a local bookstore manager. Their shared love of the outdoors and their 4 daughters, Zoe, 9, and Iris, 7, Brennan, and Maya, 11, and Chloe, 8, Caldwell, had woven their lives together. For 3 years they had camped together in Rocky Mountain National Park, always with Marcus's meticulous planning. This trip was no exception. They had reserved adjacent sites at Moraine Park Campground, a family-friendly spot known for its breathtaking views and well-kept facilities. The plan was simple: arrive Friday afternoon, hike the Easy Bear Lake Trail on Saturday, and return by 6 p.m. Sunday. Marcus, ever cautious, shared a detailed itinerary with Carmen, complete with GPS coordinates and emergency contacts. He was the type to pack multiple fire starters and a first aid kit for even the shortest hikes. The notion of him getting lost was almost unthinkable. Carmen's last contact was a cheerful text from Elena at 10:15 a.m. Saturday with a photo of the 4 girls grinning in front of Bear Lake, their faces flushed with mountain air and excitement. "Girls are loving it. Perfect weather. See you tomorrow," the message read. The image showed the families exactly where they were meant to be, doing what they had planned. Everything appeared normal. But Sunday evening came and went without word. Carmen's calls to Marcus and Elena went straight to voicemail, as did attempts to reach David and Sarah. By 9 p.m., she contacted Sarah's mother, who confirmed no communication. Panic gripped Carmen. These were responsible parents with 4 young children. They didn't vanish without reason. At 9:30 p.m., she called park authorities, launching one of Colorado's most extensive missing persons investigations. Rangers arrived at Moraine Park Campground within an hour, their flashlights piercing the dark. The scene was eerily pristine. Tents stood neatly, gear was organized, coolers were stocked, and the campfire was properly doused. It looked as if the families had stepped away mid-moment and never returned. No signs of struggle or haste confounded investigators. These were experienced campers, not novices prone to chaos. The response was swift and massive. By Monday morning, Chief Ranger Patricia Vance, a 20-year veteran, established a command post at the campground. The park's 415 square miles of rugged terrain, meadows, ridges, dense forests, and alpine tundra posed a formidable challenge, home to bears, mountain lions, and unpredictable weather shifts. The search focused on Bear Lake, where the families were last photographed. Teams of rangers and volunteers spread across the trail system, calling names and scouring paths to Emerald Lake, Dream Lake, and beyond. Search dogs trained to detect human scent days later found no trace. Helicopters scanned the peaks, their pilots trained to spot anomalies like clothing or shelters, but reported nothing. The family seemed to have dissolved into the wilderness. Interviews with campers, hikers, and park staff confirmed sightings of the group Saturday morning, appearing happy and prepared, but no one saw them after midday. Forensic analysis of the campsite revealed maps with penciled trails and Elena's journal filled with enthusiastic notes about past trips and future plans, but no hints of distress. Cell phones, left in tents, showed no unusual activity. As days became weeks, the search grew frantic. National media attention brought volunteers, climbers, and National Guard teams with thermal imaging, yet the mountains remained silent. Winter forced a suspension of active searches in November 2010 after 2,000 people had covered thousands of miles, followed hundreds of tips, and exhausted every standard technique. Theories ranged from animal attacks to foul play to hidden crevasses, but none aligned with the family's experience or the lack of evidence. The idea of intentional disappearance was dismissed. Their strong community ties and young children made it implausible. Carmen refused to surrender hope. She preserved Elena's home, leaving the girls' rooms untouched, and organized private searches each spring when snow melted. In 2013, a child's pink jacket, found 15 miles from Bear Lake, sparked brief optimism, but it belonged to another hiker, a crushing false lead. The mystery seeped into park folklore, a cautionary tale told around campfires. Years passed, with Carmen hiring private investigators and following every reported sighting, no matter how unlikely. The Caldwell house was sold, but Sarah's mother maintained a scholarship fund and annual memorial hikes, drawing hundreds to honor the missing 8. The breakthrough came on October 12, 2016, 6 years and 1 month after the disappearance. Jake Morrison, a seasoned trail crew leader, was clearing rocks on the challenging Longs Peak Trail when he spotted something odd 60 feet below, faded backpacks tangled in a pine tree on a sheer cliff face. The location was so remote and treacherous, accessible only to expert climbers, that it had never been searched. Morrison radioed park headquarters, his voice taut with anticipation. A technical rescue team, composed of the park's top climbers, descended the cliff with ropes and precision, retrieving 4 high-quality hiking packs, their fabric weathered but intact after years of exposure. The discovery electrified the Park Service and the families. The backpacks were transported to a Denver lab where Dr. Rebecca Chen, an expert in outdoor equipment analysis, led a meticulous forensic examination. Each pack was photographed extensively, documenting corrosion and wear. The first, identified as Marcus Brennan's by a legible emergency contact card, contained a first aid kit, energy bars, and a topographical map. A warped but readable notebook held a chilling entry dated September 11, 2010. Girls saw something shiny near Chasm Lake. David thinks it's a plane wreck. We're going to check it out. Chasm Lake, a strenuous hike from Bear Lake, was a dangerous high-altitude destination never considered in the original search due to its inaccessibility and the presence of young children. Elena's backpack held a digital camera, its memory card preserved in a waterproof case. Photos time-stamped 2:47 p.m. Saturday showed the girls pointing excitedly at a metallic glint on a distant cliff, hundreds of feet up. David's pack contained climbing rope and basic mountaineering gear, not mentioned in prior trip reports. Sarah's journal detailed their growing excitement over a possible historic aircraft wreck, revealing their decision to deviate from their safe itinerary. The families, caught up in the thrill of discovery, had made a series of risky choices. David, with limited college climbing experience, had convinced the group they could reach the ledge with basic techniques, despite having 4 young children and minimal gear. The backpack straps showed cuts and tears, suggesting they were abandoned in a crisis, likely falling from a height. A GPS in Maya's pack, its battery dead but memory intact, mapped their path from Bear Lake to the Diamond Wall, a near-vertical cliff near Chasm Lake. This data shifted the investigation to a targeted recovery. A new team of expert climbers and high-altitude rescue specialists approached the Diamond Wall, navigating a maze of rock faces and crevices. On the 3rd day, a climber found a hidden ledge 400 feet up, barely visible from below. Scattered across it were remnants of a makeshift shelter, torn clothing and camping gear, evidence of a desperate attempt to survive. The families had reached the ledge but became trapped, unable to climb higher or descend. They survived an estimated 4 to 6 days, using limited supplies to signal for help with mirrors and clothing. The ledge's concealment under an overhang explained why helicopters missed them. Exposure and dehydration claimed their lives in one of the park's most inaccessible spots. The recovery, requiring days of careful planning, brought closure to a community that had waited 6 years, agonizing. The metallic glint that lured them was no plane, but abandoned 1900s mining equipment, a tragic irony. The investigation revealed a sequence of fatal misjudgments. Driven by curiosity, the families abandoned their planned route for a dangerous climb they were unprepared for. Their story led to stricter park safety protocols, including enhanced backcountry permit rules and education on sticking to planned routes. A memorial plaque near Bear Lake honors Marcus, Elena, Zoe, Iris, David, Sarah, Maya, and Chloe, a tribute to their adventurous spirits and a warning to respect the mountain's unforgiving nature. Carmen found peace in knowing their fate, speaking at a memorial attended by hundreds, emphasizing the lessons learned for future wilderness safety. The case remains a haunting chapter in Rocky Mountain National Park's history, a reminder that even seasoned hikers can fall victim to the wilderness when excitement overrides caution. The family's legacy endures in the community's resolve to prevent such tragedies, ensuring their story continues to teach and warn those who venture into the wild.